Hello, everyone. All right, we're set for this today. As we just said, Jen, I just started recording. Jen, can I have your permission to record this conversation for my YouTube channel? Thanks. All right, Jen and I are back today for more tea time. Today, we're talking about my insane divorce that apparently, you know, as if you followed me at all before, I'm a starseed, you know, here ushering in New Earth, and apparently volunteered my life to be a sociological experiment so that I could share it with all of you and hopefully incite outrage and change. So today we're going to talk about the absolutely asinine what am I saying? The normalization of dysfunction that is occurring right now in our court system, in our family system, and our societal structure. You know, I think Brian also forgets. I lit a candle that's called "What the Fuck Is Happening." It smells like nothing makes sense. Tonka, leather, and jasmine from the Crimson and Clover Studios. I think Brian also forgets that while I do feel most college degrees are useless, mine was in sociology and criminal justice and legal studies. So he wants to act like I don't know what I'm talking about, but combined with that and life experience, I actually do. But my ex is using my spiritual awakening and spirituality against me to say that I am psychologically unstable and not fit to be a parent after taking care of our children and him and everyone in our house for several years, having a PTSD event, break, and blowing open my third eye and realizing who the fuck I am, and that literally I'm here for this purpose. So I wrote an email to our attorneys, the family psychologist who is assisting us with custody related issues, which there's no assistance actually happening. We haven't worked out anything for custody because he continues to say that I am not stable and he doesn't trust me to be a parent, yet he still arranges a schedule with me each week to when I'm gonna be with the kids and have them and who's doing what. It's like, who do you think is unfit to be with the children? The me that happened one night, months ago, the future me, or the me right now that you're giving our children to? Meanwhile, I don't trust you after decades of alcoholism and insisting change and not actually making any of it. So, Jenny, are you ready? I'm going to start reading this lovely email and the responses that came along with it. This is kind of long, so I apologize in advance if this is wordy. I'm going to do my best to condense here. But I have my water, I'm going to take my Magic Mind shot. This is, if you haven't tried these, Jen, I really like them. They're called Magic Mind. And it's got lion's mane, ashwagandha, turmeric, cordyceps, matcha, bunch of B vitamins, C and D. They're this one's a mental performance shot for a sharper mind, lower stress, calm energy, subtly sweet. So let's hope this helps with calming my mind, lowering my stress, calming my energy. But again, these are the natural things that I'm doing that I'm being accused of being unstable for, choosing natural methods of treatment and therapy versus big pharma, which is all poison and a scam. So it's actually very tasty. I got my water. I took my Magic Mind. I got my Schedule 35 mushroom tea so that I can make it through this with a smile on my face. And I packed a bowl. Ooh, and actually this strain is a hybrid called Sunshine No. 4. So we got all kinds of sunshine for this conversation, right?
The sun just came out too.
Did it really? Because there's no coincidences. It's universal confirmation of everything. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. Now I'm looking up your name in my email instead of the people that I sent it to. I'm in my email typing Jen. Okay. So I titled this email, Pearson versus Fleckenstein, The Truth. Oh, it's so long. Okay. Maybe not as long as I thought. Okay, I said, this is to my attorney, my ex's attorney, the family psychologist that is not assisting so much with our custody stuff. And I also put his mom on it. I don't know if she's actually seen it, but I was in a position that, you know what, as a mother myself, he's being staunchly defended by people who don't actually know the complete truth about him, because he is intentionally changed who he is in front of his parents because he does things that they don't approve of. So if I were a mother and we're not getting the whole picture of the situation that was happening with the mother of my grandchildren, I think I would want to know. So I put his mom on there. Oh well. All right. I said, hello all. I wanted to reach out regarding the cancellation of Tuesday's meeting. Oh, so we were supposed to have him after we had court for the scheduling stuff on Tuesday. We were supposed to have a meeting with all of us to sit down, which I requested to begin with. And then my ex and his attorney, I guess I'm just leaving his name out of it. Why am I leaving his name out of it? Should I include his full name, address, social security number? So everybody else got together and chatted and decided that they weren't going to accomplish anything during this meeting, because if we were getting together to talk about custody, Brian was demanding a psychiatric evaluation before he agreed to custody. So they said, we're not going to get anything accomplished. What they didn't know is that I didn't want the meeting to specifically sit down and talk about custody. I wanted everybody to sit down, look at each other face to face, acknowledge each other as human beings going through this process together, so that Brian and I, with referees, because we can't have this conversation alone like adults, without him saying one thing and doing another, to be able to say, what do you want? What is it that you would like? What do you want for our children? What do you want for yourself? Like, let's have an honest conversation instead of you turning around to everybody around you and saying, what do I do? I've never been through this before. Tell me what to do. Well, guess what? No one has ever been through the exact situation that we're going through right now. So people can give us advice and direction, but it is up to us to actually take the reins, make the decision of what we would like to do. And as adults and parents say, this is what I want. He, in every situation, is, well, they said this is what we should do. This person said this is what we should do. This person is, you know, it's never, well, this is what I want. Okay, so I wanted to reach out regarding the cancellation of Tuesday's meeting, but waited a few days so as to gather my thoughts. When I found out the meeting had been canceled and then learned of the circumstances, I was yet again disappointed that no one bothered to ask me before making that decision. I initially requested the meeting in a face-to-face conversation with Mr. Pearson, my ex. As a result, Mr. Pearson and I said Ruff, but his name is not. It's something different, but he hasn't been very polite, so that was fine. Facilitated the request, and I said thank you for that. Ultimately, I was told that it was determined that nothing would be accomplished until Mr. Pearson's insistence for yet another mental health evaluation of me to be completed, and we couldn't discuss custody until then, even though I am currently actively spending time with the children. Seeing as I was the one who requested the meeting and did have something I wanted to accomplish, but again, no one bothered to ask me, I'm going to share it with you now. I'm here to discuss the completely hypocritical nature of the events unfolding right now and the normalization of dysfunction that all of you are allowing to occur. I wanted everyone to sit down face to face and look at each other as human beings going through this process together. I have been discounted and questioned at every turn. Mr. Pearson has received the benefit of the doubt in every situation and been consulted by my own counsel, multiple different counsels. I had to fire the first one because they were talking to him and not me before I was. I've been asked to make concessions to his requests, but the psychological evaluation is the first thing anyone has really held him to at my request. It seems that everyone has listened to his side of the story about me, but no one has asked me what I lived through that would cause a mother to make the drastic decisions that I did to save my own life and therefore saving my children from repeating the same toxic cycle of normalized abuse. I have communicated on countless occasions in varying degrees to this group, and especially to Mr. Pearson, that I've suffered psychological, emotional, sexual, and financial abuse through my life, starting in childhood with my parents, being raised by an alcoholic, narcissistic mother and an emotionally avoidant, abandoning father, and the resulting religious indoctrination experience through both of their families. It continued into my extended families as well as my school system, church system, sports, extracurricular activities, and so on, as it is a generational cycle that is prevalent in the U.S. right now. The level of abuse caused me to become a people pleaser, living my life in survival mode, changing myself to be pleasing to whatever group of individuals I was serving at the time, because that's how I was taught to survive as a child. I was taught that keeping the people around me happy and in emotional balance was more important than doing so for myself, and that we don't talk about hard things. We hide them from people because of shame, fear, judgment, and avoiding uncomfortable things. I call that carpet sweeping, which is like complete textbook my family. Everything under the rug. Everything under the rug. And we'll smile at you while we sweep it under there. This is not, I said, we don't talk about hard things. We hide them from people because of shame, fear, judgment, and avoiding uncomfortable things. This is not made up. These are psychological concepts. Dr. Tobin, I would assume you are especially aware of all the concepts I'm going to be mentioning that have been actively discussed with the health professionals which have been treating me for years. While they cannot diagnose Mr. Pearson, they can confirm that this is the pattern that I allowed to perpetuate in all of my romantic relationships and most of my relationships throughout various periods of my entire life, including my relationship with and marriage to Mr. Pearson. Do we hear that, everyone? The mental health professionals that have been treating me for years have already confirmed that I have perpetuated a toxic cycle in all of my relationships, including my marriage to him, and he has been an alcoholic, narcissistic abuser, quote unquote, while they cannot diagnose him. Okay. So let's have another psychological evaluation so somebody can give him the answer he wants, right? Okay. I had separated from my affiliation with organized religion and had just fled my most recent narcissistically abusive relationship and was learning to set boundaries. I was becoming heavily involved in the fitness and healthcare industry myself and helping others learn to do the same. Mr. Pearson and I met around this time 14 years ago. He was an alcoholic, period, and he has been ever since. He's lived an adult life filled with chronic alcohol abuse and failure to take care of his physical and mental health. Mr. Pearson and I had many differences early on because despite his behavior and the fact that he maintained a strictly sexual relationship with me and avoided commitment that I was requesting for years, claimed to be interested in being a born-again Christian, and I was not Christian enough for him. Ultimately, I reverted to the initial childhood indoctrination to which I was exposed and once again began changing myself to be acceptable to a man. I wanted to be accepted by this group. I was being pressured to settle down, and if he could get it together, he seemed stable. Yes, this was my mistake. The only reason Mr. Pearson has stopped drinking currently, if that is indeed true, is because of the current circumstances with our children. If he has stopped drinking completely, then I congratulate him and pray that it continues for the sake of his own health and the health of our children. His family, his very close-knit group of friends, his co-workers, and pretty much anyone that has ever been anywhere with him while he was consuming alcohol has watched him become completely uncontrollable and perform ridiculous tasks ranging from, but not limited to, the following occurrences. Please keep in mind that Mr. Pearson historically claims that I make all of this up, even with video and photographic evidence, because he was blackout drunk and refuses to believe he is capable of such behavior. Here's the list. I started out with peeing on me. Yes, peeing on me because I didn't open the door to our hotel room fast enough. And then telling me I had a heart of stone for being upset that I had just been peed on. This was at Jules and Brett's Buddy Moon in Punta Cana. They did like a dinner cruise after their little wedding ceremony. So he went and played golf beforehand and got so blackout drunk that I had to like collect him to get him to the wedding ceremony. He fell asleep after the wedding after the ceremony. We got on the boat and he fell asleep on the boat during the beginning of the reception cruise. Again, I have pictures. then woke up and skinned his entire stomach because he decided to slide across the dance floor like a whale to get a laugh. I know, right? Because you know him and you see, you're picturing it in your head, aren't you, right? Right, because this is what he does. Because this is his level of acceptance and approval. He has to be the guy that makes everybody laugh, but can't do it without being blackout drunk because he's not comfortable in his own fucking skin as he is. This is why even at home after work every day, he had to drink, 6 to 10 beers just to get to the point of sleep. Okay, next, peeing on himself. I have to laugh at it a little bit. It is serious, but also the man just pees on himself in public on purpose to think it's funny. You know, I used to do it at Secrets, standing at the bar. They used to call it, dry peeing. I'm just gonna dry pee. He would just stand at the bar and pee himself. Ugh, okay. Falling off his bicycle multiple times on countless occasions over the course of numerous years to the point of busting open his face, feet, arms, legs, etc., being covered in blood, most of the time after which I asked him not to do so and was told not to tell him what to do, and he does what he wants. I said, ask anyone that knows him well. It's one of his catchphrases. Habitually driving under the influence, which was a major point of contention during the majority of our relationship. Becoming so intoxicated after work events that he drives home under the influence, or after convincing has to get a hotel room. However, within the last 2 years, I can confirm the dates because I have the text exchanges and the proof of having to add him to my AAA for roadside assistance. He became so intoxicated after a work golfing event in Queenstown that he tried to drive and couldn't, tried to get a hotel room, somehow didn't stay in it, tried to drive home again and couldn't, and pulled over, fell asleep in his truck until his truck battery died. So then his phone died because he couldn't charge his phone anymore. Had to walk to a gas station, get somebody to let him use a charger the next morning and charge his phone enough to call me. Then I called AAA to get him help. And then I don't know what he did before AAA got there, but he managed to just leave. So then I paid for AAA for no reason. And the whole time, instead of yelling at him, I was saying, I just want you to be safe. Can you please just, get a hotel? It just... screaming at me in front of people when he's drunk and I'm trying to get him to safety. Spitting on me. When I ask him to drink water, his response is, there's water in natural light. Refusing to feed himself anything healthy unless I make it and put it in front of him. Drinking constantly all day at home while with our children. Taking a cooler of beer with him everywhere he goes to every event, including children's birthday parties, family events, to mow the lawn, you name it. In the last 18 months, he became so intoxicated one day while he was alone at home with both of our small children that my children right now are 2 and 4. So when this event happened, they were 1 and 3. He became so intoxicated while home alone with our children. I went for the first time in forever to a baseball game with some of my girlfriends. I don't even know the last time I had gone to a baseball game before that. It had been years. He got so drunk that the next morning he had to go to the emergency room because I thought he was having a heart attack, but it turns out he was so dehydrated and malnourished as a result of the alcohol consumption from the day before that he was having a physical reaction. There's medical paperwork to correspond, and he openly acknowledged it in writing via text to his mother and sister, of which I have a copy. His own parents approached me about having an intervention within the last several years, to which I responded that his drinking wasn't that bad and we would figure it out together because I was covering for him. The night our first daughter was conceived, when I asked to switch positions so we could have a more intimate experience, I was held down while he finished, and when I spoke up about how inappropriate that was, his response was, "You wanted me to get you pregnant, right?" Sexual intimacy was regularly used as a weapon, being withheld, or me being used to satisfy his personal needs, if at all possible, due to the level of alcohol consumption which had occurred that day, but left to take care of it myself. If I spoke up about my needs, I was given a guilt trip about what a horrible partner he must be not to be able to satisfy me and to again just do it myself. Falling asleep with chewing tobacco in his mouth regularly, sometimes to the point where I would have to remove it because he was actually choking. He spent pretty much the entire evening of our wedding with his friends drinking, stayed in the driveway with the bartenders so long after it was over until I had to beg them to leave so he would come inside. When I was pregnant, especially with our second child, I regularly communicated that I was scared I would have to call an ambulance to take me to the hospital because when I went into labor, in the evening, if I went into labor in the evening, he'd be too drunk to drive me. Dude, can you sit down with me, please? Come here. You lay down? I know. Ghost can tell I'm getting upset. Come here, lay down. Come here.
So Liz, I'm about to get home and it might get loud. I might just...
Okay, hang on. Wait, what? Hang on. Can I finish this? Will you sit in the car with me? Hang on.
Luna might just, if we're in the driveway, she might
okay.
start loud.
Okay.
So just, I can mute it though if you...
You're fine. But I want you, I want some comment on this. Okay. Ghost was just like standing in my lap. Ghost had to go outside. Okay. Yeah. I was scared he was going to be too drunk to take me to the hospital when I was pregnant. Regularly putting me in uncomfortable situations of driving or navigating when he said he would do so, but was too intoxicated. When I asked for emotional fulfillment, close connections, support, a teammate, actual intimacy, I received isolation, alcoholism, judgment against the things I believed in, and shame for encouraging Mr. Pearson to stand up to things that we knew weren't right and to take care of himself. He worries about himself and getting what he wants. What he wanted was for me to do all the work to fix things while he got to continue being the same and having me to do everything for him, just like his mother did and is still doing. It's a generational cycle that is learned. This is a psychological concept, not made up. I communicated on numerous occasions that I would not allow my children to be raised by an alcoholic, and nothing changed. A few months prior to my voluntary participation in the outpatient psychiatric program, he became so intoxicated one night that he came upstairs and insisted on trying to go to work at 3 a.m. and was putting a shirt on as pants. When he couldn't figure it out and yelled at me for telling him that he didn't actually have pants in his hands, he was like, "Why won't these work? Because they're not pants, asshole. It's a shirt, okay? That's why they're not going on your legs, because it's supposed to go over your fucking head." I didn't put that in the email, but... when I told him they weren't actually pants, he literally laid on top of me, butt-ass naked, and insisted that I put the shirt on his legs because he couldn't figure it out. And I said, no, because it's not pants. It's a shirt. And his anger at my refusal was actually one of the first times that I said I was physically scared of his behavior. Like, it was the first time I was physically scared of him. He wanted to go to work and get the kids ready for school, completely blackout drunk at 3 a.m. And I actually told my neighbors, like, that was the first time that his physical, I mean, there are other things that annoyed me, but that was the first time that his anger reaction made me physically, like, I was scared he was going to physically hurt me. The things I've mentioned are all just the tip of the iceberg with regard to Mr. Pearson's behavior and treatment towards me over the years. And they are all methods of abuse. Whether intentional or not, they are. Please discuss with all the medical professionals that I've been working with, and please take the word of the person who actually lived it, remembers it, wasn't blacked out for it, and has been working tirelessly for years to have the courage to stand up and heal it. I get to be the one who tells you how I feel and the type of treatment that is not okay, because I get to decide that for myself now. No one else gets to tell me what I've lived through, how I should feel about it, or how I heal it. I watched my mother do to my father what Mr. Pearson is doing to me now. Instead of fighting for me, my father left me in the house with my emotionally unstable alcoholic mother who abused me my entire life. And I will not do the same to my children. He, and many of his friends literally have hundreds, if not thousands, of videos and pictures of his behavior, the way he spoke to me, the damage that he did to other people's property and to his own body. I will not pretend that I didn't have involvement in these activities at times because I adopted the lifestyle of the person I chose to be with. I defended and forgave him over and over and over again. However, I spent most of our relationship attempting to take care of him and help him see the better version of himself that I believed he could be. I spent 11 years in a relationship with someone who consistently told me they would change and did nothing of the sort. What is the definition of insanity? I repeatedly forgave him when my instinct told me to leave because I am literally a trauma victim who was conditioned to do so from childhood. Everyone in my family, his family, our friend group repeatedly convinced me to give him another chance, while most of them were behind my back saying, "Bless her for putting up with him." I changed who I was and what I believed in to accommodate his dysfunction. He put a roof over my head with my original abuser, my mother, and then blamed me for having to take care of her for years. I was living in a toxic environment and serving everyone but myself. Becoming a mother and watching my children start to relive the cycle I had lived, I began seeking professional mental health assistance as a result about 2.5 years ago. Mr. Pearson has been the emotional avoidant and alcoholic in our relationship who has refused to discuss hard things or work on anything that results in change. I've been the only one in our relationship that did anything to try to make it better, especially over the last 3 years, and I'm the one being questioned. After starting therapy and realizing the toxic situation I was in, I fell into complete despair and functional alcoholism because my brain and body and subconscious literally could not reconcile that I was repeating the toxic pattern I was scared to change it because I had no money and no stability. Which is, we've related in this society, money and housing to stability. Literally. If you don't have money or you don't have a house, you're considered unstable. That's it. Those are our definitions, right? Like, during this time, my father died, and Mr. Pearson was of no emotional support and didn't even mention to his family or friends that my father was sick and dying because my father and I weren't close. We had a tumultuous relationship. After they found out, I received one text message from my in-laws saying sorry, and no one did anything else to support me during this time. I then told Mr. Pearson during a group couples vacation a few months after that we should separate because even though he continued to say he loved me, his actions were to the contrary. Then we had our 5-year anniversary, for which he did nothing. Then I had my 40th birthday, for which he did nothing. Then a few months later, I literally had a PTSD-related event, which I agree was alarming. The police were called and left with no action. I voluntarily went to the ER with friends for a psychiatric evaluation. They recommended the outpatient program, which I attended voluntarily. At which program they confirmed that I was being psychologically, emotionally, sexually, and financially abused in my marriage. They encouraged me to seek help to leave him and tried to assist me with resources through the county and through the state, which ended up not being helpful because I wasn't being physically beaten. I was not eligible for any emergency assistance for me or for my children because I wasn't being physically beaten. The binder of recommended activities provided during this program for exiting survival mode, treating PTSD, anxiety, depression, ADHD, OCD, etc. are actually all of the things I'm currently doing. The social worker that was engaged as a result of the police being called, met with me one time, and I told him about the treatment I endured in my marriage, and he closed the case with no further action. Mr. Pearson didn't like that program because they didn't support his viewpoint and indeed found him to be combative and stuck on non-productive items during our family meetings. Mr. Pearson typically doesn't like anyone that doesn't see eye to eye with him. Maybe that's why he's refused our entire relationship to look me in the eyes when I try to discuss the difficult things, and pretty much refuses to look me in the eyes at all now. In the past, I've communicated that I request eye contact to feel heard and respected in our relationship, and when he refuses to look at me and I communicate that it makes me upset, I'm told I'm combative, difficult, overly emotional, too sensitive, you pick one. Then he runs away. We are continuing this cycle right now. How many more medical professionals do you need to tell you that I'm not crazy and I'm not a danger before he will listen? My PTSD event was actually a blown third eye, where my level of consciousness became so elevated that I opened my psychic ability and was flooded with energies and emotions that I didn't yet understand. Yes, during this I had a spiritual awakening, and there was indeed one night with an alarming event. My fear-based reaction was a result of the religious indoctrination I've suffered through my life and the fear of being taken away from my children. Yes, my spiritual beliefs have changed. Yes, I have tapped into a higher consciousness and awareness of the world around me. I believe in reincarnation. I'm an energy balancer. I see the things in people that they hide from. I help identify the source of energy blocks in the body that are actually related to trauma and are causing chronic pain, injury, and illness. I've been making connections with people in our local community that share the same beliefs and are interested in working together. I'm diving into naturopathy and herbal medicine. You act as if I'm performing witchcraft, and I'm performing an ancient form of energy healing that has literally been around for centuries, is widely accepted around the world, and was actually promoted by Jesus. Thank you. I believe that God put everything on earth with a purpose, including each of us. Plant medicine and the ancient ways of healing aren't New Age. New Age medicine is the experimental man-made stuff that's going on now. New Age religion is Christianity and Catholicism. I've mended fences with my close friends, with many close friends after having, I wouldn't say many, I'd say a few. Maybe I should rephrase that. After having this very conversation with them, and they have been apologizing to me, not saying that they're concerned about my mental health. No one else around me is concerned about my stability except for Mr. Pearson, his Christian family and friends, none of which have extended a Christian hand to check on me. I believe I'm here with a sole purpose, and part of that sole purpose is to discuss the fact that the entire group of people surrounding the situation are acting completely hypocritically, are perpetuating a cycle of abuse, and have literally lost touch with your actual humanity and morality. I was afraid to open up in the hospital because I was afraid of Mr. Pearson and how he would try to punish me for leaving by using my children, which is exactly what he is doing. I was also afraid of communicating my spiritual beliefs and abilities because of the shame and judgment doled out by Mr. Pearson and his family toward anyone who has differing beliefs than his Christian beliefs outlined in the Bible. I've completely open with all of my mental health professionals that I've continued to work with since leaving the 3-week hospital program, my psychologist, my psychiatrist who discharged me after successfully weaning me off medication that was masking the root of my problem instead of healing it, the acupuncturist I'm still seeing through a grant at the hospital, through the program, my neuromuscular therapist, my lymphatic drainage specialist, my yoga instructors, etc., etc., etc. Not one of them has called into question my sanity because of my spiritual beliefs or my ability to be a parent. You all, however, are simply taking the word of Mr. Pearson. Why? Because he has money and a stable home. What is stable? While he has self-admittedly refused continuous mental health treatment in the past for his substance abuse and depression issues and inability to tap into or communicate his emotions, everyone in the family and friend group surrounding him has watched me deal with his alcoholism and literally fall apart in the process. The person in our relationship who has been fighting for change is actually me. Mr. Pearson is perpetuating a toxic cycle of providing for his family financially on a surface level, social media sort of way, forcing his children to obey and only love people who think like him and his family, and that's all. I'm the one who is focused on mental health and making positive change by taking care of my mind, body, soul, and heart. Mr. Pearson says he is concerned about our children's well-being and supports the changes being made by the current health administration, but I see a pantry and fridge filled with junk food and sugar with the occasional vegetable or fruit. The kitchen is clean, but the girls' bedrooms where they should feel safe are disasters and filled with dirty, smelly diapers. I keep cleaning up. The floors are filthy. Laundry's everywhere. These are all signs of the same depression I suffered when I was doing everything alone with no help. But you make no effort to actually work as a team with me to provide a comfortable environment for our children or me, and you are portrayed as the stable one. You sit in court saying I'm not fit to take care of our children and then confirm with me which days are good for you this week for me to have them. Are you afraid of me now, or are you afraid of the future me that doesn't exist yet? You claim you should be afraid of all of them, honestly. You claimed COVID was a hoax and don't trust the vaccines and tell me to my face that you don't support me taking big pharma medications. Also, COVID was a hoax and you should not trust the vaccines because they're poison. I'm just adding that as an aside. Jen concurs. She's a medical professional as well. You say to my face, you don't support me taking big pharma medications, and then you turn around and slap me with a subpoena that questions my decision-making for natural healing because I don't believe in big pharma. You tell me you want to co-parent, but then you tell me that you don't believe who I am or anything I say, I'm not a psychic, and you won't look me in the eye when you talk to me. How am I supposed to co-parent with somebody who treats me that way? Co-parenting assumes that you're dealing with someone who respects you. You don't treat me with respect, and you really never have. How is it fair to ask me to co-parent in this situation? You don't get to have it both ways in every situation, Mr. Pearson. I've literally spent the last several months in an intensive self-healing process of exiting survival mode and healing. When exiting survival mode, one's brain has psychologically developed enough to escape the dangerous situation, but the trauma is still trapped in your tissues, organs, and DNA, and must be moved through your system to be released and heal the chronic condition or physical response to a trigger or stimuli. I had to literally flee my home because the person triggering me refused to leave. He refused to leave. when I said, let's have a nesting agreement with the kids so we can switch off, he said, this is my house. I'm not leaving. Where am I supposed to go? To literally flee my home because the person triggering me refused to leave and give me a safe place to exist because he doesn't accept the fact that his behavior was actually abusive, which is the same symptoms other avoidance and narcissists have. Look it up. It's actually scientific. The healing modalities I've been using heavily include, but are not limited to, sunlight, walking barefoot in the grass, meditation, journaling, shadow work, which is also a psychological concept of facing all of your fears and things you're scared to admit, yoga, Pilates, neuromuscular therapy, lymphatic drainage, art therapy, intentional movement to release trauma, intuitively, somatic therapy, EFT, decalcifying my pineal gland, medical cannabis, increasing neuroplasticity and cognition through functional therapies and adaptogenic mushrooms, psilocybin therapy, detoxifying my body and organs to reset my immune system, singing to open my throat chakra after years of being told to be quiet and because the sound of your own voice is the most healing vibration your body can ever experience. Dancing, because I used to love it, and my body was so scared around Mr. Pearson that I would literally stop moving when he entered the room. Did I tell you that? I used to literally be cooking dinner in the kitchen, dancing with my earbuds in, and every time he would come in the room, I would literally freeze. I would just stop moving because my body literally was like, this isn't safe. Doing all the things that I dreamed of doing in my life, but didn't because I was convinced I wasn't good enough, I wouldn't make enough money, or I needed to take care of someone else instead. Yes, I have met someone who suffered compatible trauma in his life with a similar childhood and is an Army vet. We met in this lifetime through different childhood, but we met in this lifetime throughout our recovery process. Mr. Pearson, as an avid supporter of all things patriotic, an avid listener to self-help materials and podcasts created by retired military personnel, a watcher of all shows and movies related to the military, shadow governments, covert operations, traumatic injuries to soldiers and the efforts made to cover them up, and the PTSD that soldiers deal with and work to heal, and can't imagine that he wouldn't be able to respect a veteran that served our country proudly to his own detriment. Such a dick. His only issue is that I'm seeing someone. I have the text messages to support our conversations related to my partner meeting the girls, and I've never once suggested a time frame. I simply said we discussed it. Mr. Pearson launched it into... Oh. Jen, are you there?
Yeah.
He's FaceTiming right now. He's FaceTiming me right now.
Oh.
Right?
You want me to answer it?
Yeah, it's the girls calling to say goodnight. Hang on.
Okay.
All right. Hang on.
I'm gonna load the car, Liz.
Yeah, and I'll call you right back.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye.
We're taking a break to say goodnight to my kids. Hello. Hi, my beautiful angels. How are you?
I'm putting everything that I bring to your house when I was having a sleepover in my drawers so that the next time you come to bring us to your apartment, I have them in my drawer.
Oh, yay. I love you. How was your day?
Good.
Did you have a good day?
Yeah, today at church, I learned about Jesus helped Noah build a big ark.
You learned today at church about how Jesus helped Noah build a big ark.
Yeah.
What is the ark for?
Because it was going to rain, and if there was no big boat, no little boat, Noah can have all the animals and him, and all the birds on it. So he needs big boat in order for it to rain.
A big boat because of the rain. I know. I love that story, actually. I think that's a really good one.
Jonah, this is another good story. Jonah and the whale.
Jonah and the whale. Can you tell me about Jonah and the whale?
Jonah sailed away in the water with a boat. He was away from God, and then God So that this whale spinning back.
Jonah was far away from God, so God sent the whale to swallow him up.
Yeah.
Yep. Mommy, you know what? Mommy's like a whale. Whales have ancient knowledge. Did you know that the sounds that they make under the water, that's how they talk?
See, I have how to train a jet. I'm gonna help you.
You're going to help me? How are you You've helped me so much, my angel baby. You have no idea. Hi.
Hey, Mommy.
Yes, baby.
A show that I have on my iPad.
I would prefer not to talk about your iPad. I would prefer to see your beautiful face right now. You put me on pause.
I'm showing you a show. There's Let It Go. How? Nope. That's not Let It Go.
That's not Let It Go. Are you playing Let It Go right now?
No. I'm showing you a show. There's a show right here called How to Train Your Dragon.
How to Train Your Dragon. That's a really good movie. Mommy likes that movie. It's quite prophetic. All right, pumpkins. Can someone either take me off pause or talk to me or something? You got me on pause. I can't see you. You're not talking to me.
Hey, Mommy.
Yes, baby. Oh, and everybody's gone. Should we try again? We'll say goodnight to the children and then we'll continue our read of the tea. Hi.
Mommy.
All right, baby. Can I have a big hug and kiss?
Yeah.
Mwah. I love you.
I love you.
Are you wearing your Little Mermaid nightgown? Perfect.
Ariel.
It's your Ariel nightgown. You know what? Mommy is using her voice right now, like Ariel learned to sing. Ah. You sing with me? Ah. Yes, my angel baby. I love you.
Mommy, I didn't get to tell you what I was saying. Okay, so what I was saying, Mommy,
Yes.
one day will you have a sleepover at house? But hold on a second. Do you want to see something?
Yeah.
Fan.
It's spinning.
And remember, Mommy, when it was my birthday, you got me this new snow globe?
I did. I got you that globe with the purple rose in it.
Yeah. And then you got me a big balloon for my birthday.
I sure did.
Yeah?
Do you still have it?
Yeah. I mean, no. Remember you were taking it?
Oh, it was the mermaid balloon. That's right. I have the mermaid balloon. Yep, I am actually using it.
Can I see it
And
now?
well, not right now. It's in Mommy's car, but I'm going to use it in an art piece for you. Remember, I told
See
you.
what you're painting?
Ooh, Mommy's painting these glasses. I'm going to paint some flowers on them, and then I'm going to fill them up with wax and turn them into candles. Isn't that neat?
When you're done painting that, can I see your candles on?
Uh-huh.
Why are you still using green?
Because I am painting some vines,
Oh.
some leaves. Yep. See?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to watch you paint.
You know what? Watching people paint is very soothing. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll watch you paint so that you can tell me when it's done.
Okay.
But
But-
make sure you use different colors too. And
I
not just
will.
green.
I promise I will use different colors and not just green. I will use all the colors of the rainbow.
Maybe use purple, pink, violet, blue, purple, pink,
That sounds perfect.
yellow,
Um,
and
can I have big hugs and kisses?
also.
Ooh, I see your howdy chickadee.
Yellow. What?
I saw your howdy chickadee on the wall.
This?
Yeah, your Easter painting.
Oh yeah, we painted for you.
I know. All right, can I have big hugs and kisses?
You did a really good job painting it.
We did.
But I forgot some spots.
That's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect.
No.
It's not about being perfect.
It's already in the wall, so I cannot picture that. When there's one more picture, I want you to go on the rainbow. Starts with an R.
Starts with an R. Red.
And white. And white. And also I want you to use. Also I want you to use